I'm of the school of thought that everyone has bias, whether it is conscious or unconscious. I also believe that if you're aware of your bias consciously, you can navigate around it in some cases in order to increase your level of logic and discernment. That being said, I would be disingenuous with you if I did not tell you that I have a bias against teachers. And I don't mean that I dislike people who are in the profession. What I mean specifically by that statement is that anyone who becomes a teacher, whether it is a colleague, a friend, someone I grew up with, a family member, whoever it is, when they tell me they are a teacher, I think they are taking the easy way out. If you truly have knowledge that you think can enhance the next generation who are going to vote, be working in the economy, going to be building the roads, the hospitals, the bridges, if you think that you are that intelligent, then why are you not using that intellect, using that ingenuity in order to build a business, build a product, invent something new, do something outside of the education sphere? Now, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not even against them personally. It's just as an institution, teachers and education are becoming obsolete. The best teachers are typically found in other venues instead of schools. And don't misunderstand me, I've had good teachers in the past. But the people who have taught me the most are people who I have found on my own. If you search for the truth, you're going to find it. But your journey to finding that truth might be longer, might be shorter. You might take different segues. But eventually, you will find the truth. To be honest, the people I've learned the most from are people who are authors, people who are former businessmen, people throughout history. One of the people is Napoleon Hill. He's wrote many great books. Right now, I am reading Think and Grow Rich. But in that book, he gives you principles about the mind, the subconscious mind. He tells you different stories about successful business people like Edison, Henry Ford, people like that, in order to help you reach success. I also learned about business reading about John D. Rockefeller, reading about Andrew Carnegie, reading about J.P. Morgan. There's channels on YouTube like Aaron Clarey, Chronicles of Judah, certain channels that I've watched where I've gained a lot more knowledge than I could from any classroom. But the point I'm making is that teaching is becoming obsolete. You can learn a lot more from YouTube or online courses or just reading on your own than you can from a teacher, than you can from anyone who is in an academic environment. Not only is automation going to replace truck drivers, factory workers, and most of the workforce, but it's going to replace teachers. I think the future is online courses. If you want to be economical, how much money are you spending for every dollar you're spending? How much efficiency, how much rate of return are you getting back? That is what you call efficiency. I've bought online courses before about drop shipping, about the stock market, But the people I buy them from, they're not teachers. They're people who have started businesses online. They're small business owners. They're people who make money day trading. But purchasing a course for 30, 40, sometimes $50 from a real person who has real world experience will give you a higher rate of return. I've also spent time with my uncle before who dropped out of high school. He has his GED now, but he dropped out of high school. But he has a small, successful business. I spent a week working in his business, learning about supply chains, learning about costs, learning about inventory, phone calls, customer service. I learned more in that week working for my uncle than I've ever learned in an academic setting. For me, I like to learn real skills that are applicable. Knowing a bunch of facts about history, which I love, I'm a historian, is not a useful trait. It is trivial information. I like learning about real skills, applying those skills to certain situations. You can't do that in a classroom. And so for me, I think teaching is slowly becoming obsolete. Not only are the things that they teach you becoming obsolete, but the history they teach you is complete and total horseshit. It's like, not only are you forced to learn all that information, all that indoctrination, but what they teach you is total bullshit. History is based upon narrative. When you start to read through the real history, which I've done, then you learn that almost all that they're telling you is total bullshit.